Hey, and welcome back to Kiana's Takeaway, where today we are actually giving a little review of the Netflix original movie, The Harder They Fall. This movie came on a couple nights ago, and I just had to see that it was Idris Elba, first of all. I said, "What's this, Idris? Idris, you in the movie? I will watch that movie." I don't care what the movie is that Idris Elba is in. I'm going to watch it. I watched that terrible movie. What was it called? Where it was about robots on the seashore, and it was basically like Voltron, but robots on the seashore. It was terrible. And they even made like part 2 or 3 of that. It's a terrible movie. Okay. But I watched it because Idris Elba was in it. So I just need to have Idris Elba in a movie. I'm gonna watch it. Basically, that's that. So The Harder They Fall. First of all, I used to say I don't like westerns. I used to say I don't like westerns. I don't like, I don't like cowboys and horses and being out in the desert and having a tumbleweed roll by and crusty people with guns and hats. And I was like, this is not what I want to watch. My grandmother, Miss Barbara Brown, she loved westerns, so I watched a lot of westerns growing up. We always watched Gunsmoke. We always watched Bonanza. We watched lots of spaghetti westerns. We watched John Wayne's. We watched westerns, okay? So as a child, I just equated all that with boringness. It was just all boring to me. I didn't like westerns. But because I'm a kid that grew up in the 80s, there was a couple westerns that I liked. Number one, the first western that I liked was Young Guns. That's right, Young Guns. That was the first western that I liked. I liked Emilio Estevez. I liked what's his name? What's the guy's name? He's Spanish, but he played a Native American in that one. That's what people always used to do. That was a great movie. I love that movie. And I think I even like Young Guns too. Not as much as Young Guns 1, but I really like Young Guns. The next Western that I really liked was Back to the Future 3. I mean, I loved it. Back to the Future 3 was great. Set in Western times. Then I saw the Western that changed all Westerns for me. And it shook me. It shook me. Right here, it shook me. And that little film is called Tombstone. Oh man, such a good movie. If you haven't seen Tombstone, just a little plug for Tombstone. Highly recommend it. Fantastic acting from top to bottom. Sam Elliott, first of all. Val Kilmer. Kurt Russell. Just a great cast. Really good. There's lines in the movie that if you have seen Tombstone, I'm your Huckleberry. Come on. Great lines. Quotable movie. Tombstone. Fantastic movie. I watched The Quick and the Dead. I watched High Noon. I've seen lots of westerns, okay? And I can take a lot of westerns and leave a lot of westerns. You know, they're still not my favorite genre, but every once in a while, especially Netflix has been doing great. They'll put out something that's a western, and it'll just be phenomenal. A couple years ago, they did one called Godless. Fantastic, really good. So The Harder They Fall. So now I gotta maybe stop saying I don't like westerns, because I might start to like westerns. Oh, and also later on in life, there was a fantastic sci-fi show based on western, um, like mentality and from through like a western, like the Wild Wild West scope. It's called Firefly. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you are a sciencey, geeky sci-fi person, you probably know about Firefly. Fantastic. So there's things that I do like that are western-ish or are straight up westerns. Seeing the combo of Idris Elba in anything, and it being a western, and the modernization of the fact that they used actual historical characters, people who lived in actual history. Fantastic. There was and is black cowboys. Black cowboys existed and still do exist right now. These are the things that black culture, we don't know about, because if we don't see it, then we don't know it. And that's like everything. That's like everybody on the planet. If you don't see something, you probably don't know it. You don't recognize it, and you never heard of it. And so this film is fantastic. Idris Elba, of course. The rest of the cast is fantastic. You have Regina King. Doesn't Regina King feel like all of our cousin? Like all of us, she's our cousin. Well, my cousin Regina was in that one. Legitimately, she feels like our cousin, you know? We grew up watching her. She grew up in front of us. We rooted for her in every single thing that she's done. And she's continued to advance her career with class and dignity and talent, and just being Regina King. Have you seen her fashions? She's so fashionable. She's beautiful. She's just amazing. And man, so Regina King, Idris Elba, Delroy Lindo. This guy is the best at either being a real bad guy or the guy that you don't know if he's a bad guy, but he could be a bad guy. But he's everybody's uncle. Dion Cole, great, just shows up, does his thing. Lakeith Stanfield. There's actors in here that are less familiar to me. Lakeith, of course, being in Get Out and in what was the thing about the calling? Don't hang up, or excuse me for the call. What was that movie called? I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, it was great. Real bizarre, real weird. And the anti-hero, I think in this, Jonathan Majors. Great job. Beautiful, wonderful performance. Everything about this film was class act, top notch. From the filming, from the scenery. They spent a lot of money on this thing. They had to actually use some out west footage and go to these places that's all open wide, and maybe they're in Canada. Lots of parts of Canada looks like our west also. Just beautifully done. filmography was great. The soundtrack was real nice also. So getting back to the film being a predominantly Black film, produced by Jay-Z, crazy. I mean, you're gonna watch this movie. Just phenomenal, amazing, with just the idea that Black producers, directors, actors can be a part of projects that are all Black or mostly Black casts, and have it just be about anything. This is our Tombstone. This is our Quick and the Dead. This is the classic cowboy movie. It had all the great cowboy-esque moments that they played on really beautifully. The town that they set up, the multiple towns that were set up. There's a scene where the Idris Elba character, who is like the bad guy, and they refer to him as the devil. There's a scene where there's an opposing shot where at the end, so that he's in one building, at the end of that long row, that street is a very, very white, traditional church, white building. And it has, so it's like, here's God, here's the devil, It had so much poetry in it. It had a love story in it. It had a couple love stories in it, actually. Just really, really well done. And I walked away absolutely so happy. Many parts of the film I shouted out loud and screamed and laughed, and I mean, the train scene, so great. What's something that a good Western needs is a train robbery scene, right? Gotta have a train robbery scene. So they have a train robbery scene, and so they do the whole, they get on the train, and they make their threats to the people on the train, and and there's a regiment of soldiers on the train, and to deal with that, and how they get what they need to get off the train, and it's just so great, just a real so well done, so smart, so funny. It was the great combination of intensity with humor mixed in throughout that whole scene, throughout the whole movie. The other thing, there's there's a scene where they have to go to Mayville. And it's Mayville, a white town. It's great. You just got to see it. It is so great. It's just so clever. It's simple, but what it's saying is really powerful. And it's just so good. So The Harder They Fall, gotta say, if you love Westerns, it's a must-see. If you love Black films, it's a must-see. If you are obsessed with Idris Elba, it's a must-see. If you just want to be in the know of the conversation that's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks, it's a must-see. You got to see The Harder They Fall. What's my takeaway? My takeaway from this movie overall is that the beauty of it. It has a lot of beauty in it. they spent a lot of time making sure that there were shots in this film that captured moments really well. It had a lot of beautiful scenes in it. It had a lot of graphic. It's a Western, and, you know, it's always up to, you know, the storyteller, how they tell the story. And the gore was definitely an aspect of the story and how the story was told. Bullets to the head is kind of a thing. Bullets to the head is kind of a thing. Or guns to the head is kind of a thing. It's really, there's blood. There's blood. But overall, man, if I had to give this movie, if I had to rate it, my rating system is like in school. It's an A+, an A, a B+, a B, a C, or a D. I don't give C pluses. This movie is an A+. It's an A+. There's so many things about this movie that's fantastic. So if you're looking for action, adventure, a little romance, if you're looking for a story about revenge and danger, this is your story. It's great. Highly recommend seeing The Harder They Fall. Pick it up quickly, look at it, talk about it the next day at work, share it with your friends and family. It's a great movie. Well done, everybody that had anything to do with this film is fantastic. And it may be inching up in my ranking of cowboy movies I love. It's I think it's beat out Young Guns. I think it has. I think it's Tombstone still. Tombstone. The Harder They Fall. Young Guns. Back to the Future 3. Quick and the Dead. I think that's my rating now. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.